Welcome to another point of view review by CarAdvice. We want to give you the opportunity to see what it's like to get behind the wheel of the 2020 Mustang R-Spec. Here, the car is featured in grabber orange, and doesn't it look stunning? Those wheels are staggered in size. The rears are 10 inches wide. There's also sport suspension all round, which includes MagneRide adaptive dampers. We'll give you a close-up now of those great 19-inch wheels and those awesome hockey stripes, which hark back to the Mustang of old times. Up front, there's also 6-piston Brembo calipers behind those wonderful Ford Performance wheels. From the front, it actually looks quite menacing, with a matte black package which includes a black front pony as well as matte racing stripes. Out back, there's a unique spoiler that's specific to the Mustang R-Spec. It's also badged to let other people know exactly what you're driving. Now we'll have a look under the bonnet and show you what this thing's packing. Underneath you'll find Ford's regular V8 engine, however this time with a huge 2.65 litre supercharger. This blower was developed by Ford Performance partner Roush and uses Eaton internals to force air through the engine. The power figure was never officially announced by Ford Australia, but a bit of digging lends us to understand that this setup, or a very similar one, in the States makes over 500 kilowatts of power and over 800 newton meters of torque. There's also this great air box which has a clear perspex viewing window to show you that super large air filter underneath. The boot is reasonably sizable and is equipped with a subwoofer that's part of the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Out in the second row, room is a little tight, however there is 2 ISOFIX points in case you wanted to mount a child seat. If you're over 6 foot, it won't be comfortable for any amount of time. Body-hugging Recaro seats come standard in the Mustang R-Spec and are clad in a really nice black leather. Let's jump in, fire her up and take it for a bit of a drive. Instantly, you're greeted by Ford's 12.5-inch digital instrument cluster, which is configurable in many ways. There are many modes available, from street mode, track mode, to even a drag racing mode, which adjusts the rev counter accordingly. All Mustang R-Specs come with a 6-speed manual. There's no automatic option on offer. As you can hear, that supercharged V8 sounds absolutely fantastic, even more so when it's breathing through that active exhaust that was specified by Herrod Performance down in Melbourne. We've got a microphone on the rear of the car just above the exhaust to give you the full fat experience. As mentioned before, we never really got an official power figure for this car, but one thing's for sure, above 5,000 RPM, it feels strong and definitely like it's got a bit more than 500 kilowatts. Power is absolutely on tap everywhere. Below 5,000, it does feel a bit like a regular Mustang with a bit more power. However, if you string it out right to the red line, it really comes alive. First gear will do over 120 kilometers an hour, so you've got to be really careful when behind the wheel. Another thing too, is that due to the huge torque figure, give or take 800 newton meters, the car just wants to blow the rear tyre away in second and third gear. You have to be smooth with your input and gentle with every gear change in order to not upset the car's balance. The MagneRide suspension is good, however differences between sport and comfort are hard to discern between. It feels a little bit sharper on sport mode under really high stress cornering. Other than that, around town, you'll struggle to notice a difference between the two. It's really hard to flex this car on the street. You'll find your license getting a bit warm in your pocket, depending on how much pedal you use. Given the Mustang R-Spec had a price tag of around $100,000, you're getting a serious amount of performance for your money. Sure, it might not be as exotic as others, but the level of performance is comparable to things that cost 3 times as much. Then there's that wonderful exhaust, just have a listen to it. It has a few modes. On regular mode however, it's still really loud, so be wary of that. You don't actually get a feel for the sound from inside the car however, so thankfully with that microphone at back, you're getting the full experience. If you ever hear one from the outside, it sounds a ton louder than it does from the inside. The exhaust seems to throw the sound miles out back, which is a good thing for its occupants. It also sounds like it's going to drone, but it just never does. Whoever's tuned the exhaust system here has done a really good job. They've ironed out any frequencies that are to clash in the cabin, and it just doesn't annoy your ears. One other great part about this system is you can set it, depending on the time of the day, to start in the quietest mode possible, as to not annoy your neighbours. Great feature that by Ford. We currently have the car set in racetrack mode, which is as loud as it gets. Down low, it sounds quite similar to sport, but up top, it unleashes a really vicious bark. The tyres are a Michelin Sport item that measure a wide 275 out back. Even with that big rubber, the car struggles to deal with the amount of torque. Second gear and third gear can be a bit of a handful. The chassis was also fettled locally by Ford Australia and Herrod Performance. It includes larger sway bars, which measure an extra 5mm at the front and 3mm at the rear, as well as a unique lowered spring package. Another good thing about the way this car performs is that it's very communicative. It lets you know what's going on, and if it is going to step out, it gives you prior warning. The chassis deals with load really well, and you get a true understanding of what's happening underneath you before it happens. One thing that's a bit of a shame is that you're missing out on those Mad Max Interceptor vibes. You just don't get that supercharger coming through the cabin, nor do you hear it. The Ford Mustang R-Spec is an absolutely effervescent thing. It just gets under your skin, and you can't help but feel special while driving it. Everyone else thought so too, with many admirers coming up and expressing their love and desire for owning this exact car. Given the cost, rarity and exclusivity of the car, given there's only 500 built, and then the performance, it's hard pressed to think that you'll be able to get anything else like this in the market anytime soon. It's just a shame that Ford only built 500 of these things. However, we hope this video gives you the chance to feel and experience what it's like to get behind the wheel. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to gain access to heaps more great automotive content.